All right, gang, I am off to the cinema tonight to go check out Life. It is, of course, the new science fiction alien thriller. Just thinking about Life made me in turn think of two things. First of which, I create life!
And I destroy it.
Acting! Brilliant! Thank you! Thank you!
And second, look at this film's premise. It's about an extraterrestrial entity that finds its way onto a spaceship and then wreaks havoc on all of the astronauts. Where have I seen this film before? All right, gang, I just got out of Life.
It's too dark.
And I'm going to try and keep this review relatively short because I've had a long, arduous, and very stressful day. But not nearly as long, arduous, and stressful as the astronauts in this movie. You!
No, you're not going.
Get your goddamn hand off me! Holy crap! And as I alluded to earlier, like, Life is obviously an alien knockoff, and I think it's a transparent alien knockoff. I don't think it's really trying to hide behind the fact that Ridley Scott's original 1970s Alien film wasn't an influence on this, because it's patently obvious when you watch the film. Even even when you look at the typeface by which Life shows up on screen, it's like, man, it looks a little similar to the Alien typeface, just saying. And what you really need to know is this: the film has a very simple but, you know, derivative and evocative premise. It basically is about a bunch of astronauts that are working within this orbiting space station around Earth, who have collected some soil samples from Mars that have been delivered by this other satellite.
Station to control. Visual confirmation of Mars rover Pilgrim.
I see it.
It's gonna hit you.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Which almost incidentally crash lands into the space station. So they basically take the samples and they discover this microscopic organism residing within the soil.
We're looking at the first proof of life beyond Earth.
So, like good scientists, they start to, you know, study this organism, and then their curiosity gives way to more scientific query.
Lowering oxygen, more carbon dioxide.
That's beautiful. You're finally a daddy. It's gonna be a big custody battle over this one.
And then they start to do weird things like, you know, probe it with electricity. When is that ever a good idea in a sci-fi horror film involving an extraterrestrial monster?
Look how fast it's growing. Every single cell is a muscle cell and a nerve cell.
What's going on?
I'm going.
No, you're not.
No!
Needless to say, this little small organism morphs into, rather predictably, this grotesque, you know, octopus-like monster CG creation that eventually wreaks havoc on the ship and on all of the astronauts on board.
Where is it?
I lost it.
You don't know what it can do.
No!
Because in space, no one can hear you scream, and no one can hear you float around aimlessly in zero gravity. First things I will say about Life is that this is a thanklessly good-looking film. It's from director Daniel Espinosa. He previously directed Safe House, and Safe House also starred Ryan Reynolds, who is one of the main stars in this film, alongside Jake Gyllenhaal and the very underrated Rebecca Ferguson, who lead sort of ensemble cast. And you know, right from the get-go, this is a gorgeous and sumptuous looking science fiction film. The opening shots are really evocative.
Each passing year has seen our estimate of the probability of life in space increase. More and more scientists feel that contact is no longer something beyond our dreams.
I really like the way that Espinosa creates a sensation of atmosphere on board the space station.
What have we done?
We're looking at the first proof of life
What have we done?
on Mars.
What have we done?
It seems like the film sort of opens by introducing us to all these characters and their surroundings and the environment on this vessel in one long unbroken tracking shot. And I'm sure there have been the whole shot has been probably cut down to micro shots via some very careful editing and probably some computer generated trickery, but nevertheless it's really quite stellar. I was really impressed.
Are you gonna bring the Martian back to Earth?
No, we're gonna keep it up here. We're gonna study it where it's safe.
And I also like the fact that much like the Nostromo in the original Alien, this vessel is sort of like a character in its own right. And unlike the astronauts on board the Nostromo, this orbiting space station does not have gravity. So that kind of amps up the tension and the apprehension of all the astronauts when they're trying to flee from this extraterrestrial monster, because they can't really run away from it. They just have the ability to sort of I don't know, float away from it.
If we let it get to Earth,
We'll risk all human life.
Let's kill the thing.
Do you see it?
It's too dark.
You know, the performances are also much like the visual look of this film, thanklessly decent. Like, I think Ryan Reynolds, I mean, he's playing a very Ryan Reynoldsian character here, kind of the wise talking smart ass, but he does it so well you're willing to forgive him for it.
It's a girl.
Congratulations. Do you have any idea who the father is?
Shut up.
I also really like Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal brings a lot of, I guess, emotional impact.
We've lost all communication.
And Rebecca Ferguson, of course, has a real sort of headstrong center to her female authority figure on the space station.
every single cell is a muscle cell and a nerve cell.
All muscle, all brain.
I guess if I was going to have one complaint about life is that I think character development really takes a back seat. I don't think that the characters themselves have very distinct personalities that separate themselves apart from one another. They all seem very interchangeable as characters. And
16 steps to fix a shower. I'm an astronaut, not a gym teacher.
But then again, quite frankly, we don't go to movies like this looking for sobering and thoughtful characters. We go to be entertained and to be scared and to be thrilled. And I think for the most part, life does achieve at least that.
We've lost all communication.
Good night, air.
We'll hit the atmosphere in 39 minutes.
We won't survive re-entry.
But it could.
And the special effects are actually, they're pretty incredible. Like, I mean, the opening vista shots of the space station over Earth, and the manner with which the film makes you actually believe that all the astronauts are indeed weightless on the space station. I thought the effect was quite remarkable and quite well handled. I think its tail end is not nearly as fascinating as its opening, let's say, half. I think I was really hooked and entranced within the first 30 to 45 minutes of this film, and then it sort of devolves into standard, I guess, sci-fi horror film tropes where you're kind of like, left guessing as to, well, which person's gonna die next. And I think anyone with a reasonable head on their shoulder will probably be able to predict the very last man or woman standing in this film. I think the film sort of runs out of gas the longer it progresses, but nevertheless, I thought the film's opening sections were sensational. It certainly garnered my interest, and like I said, for the first third, I really forgot that this was kind of an Alien clone. And I think just as the film progressed, it really became obvious that this film owes an incredible debt to Ridley Scott's science fiction masterpiece. And this film certainly is no Alien. But as far as genre ripoffs go, Life is worth seeing. I think it's worth seeing on a big screen, and I was genuinely entertained by it, and I would be more than happy to give it a recommendation.
It's hard to watch people die.
So there you go. There is my review of Life. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the film. Also, let me know in the comments below what you think are some of your favorite science fiction alien themed movies. Once again, thank you very much for watching. If you could like this video, I'd really appreciate it. If you could subscribe to my channel, give me some subscribe love, that would mean the absolute world to me. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you at the movies.
I create life! And I destroy it.
No. Just no.